Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Aim to be a Pokemon Master, Episode 8, Banette's Search. This was the 1229th episode of the Pokemon anime, and a pretty emotional one at that. There's also some Gen 9 anime news to get into, so let's break it all down. The episode starts with our heroes arriving in a small town as the sun sets. Apparently, Misty bought a heart-shaped hair tie from a nearby shop, but forget about that because they just heard a scream nearby and it's time to investigate. Officer Jenny is also there to investigate, which gives us this familiar scene of Brock getting dragged away by Misty and Krogunk. Officer Jenny explains that some strange occurrences have been happening lately, and she thinks a Pokemon is behind them. Ash offers to help and sends out Gengar, thinking that it can help find the mysterious Pokemon. They enter this house. I have no clue why it's so dark in here. Maybe they need an electrician and not a police officer. But anyways, after splitting up, Misty looks in a mirror and sees an ominous shadow behind Officer Jenny. I mean, not really ominous since it's just the Gen 1 ghost sprite, but before they can identify it, the ghost flies through the walls and into the top floor of the house. Luckily, these geniuses are upstairs, and when they go into one of the rooms, Ash sees this apparition searching through some desk drawers, but it flies away before Gengar can subdue it with a Shadow Ball. As it makes its escape, Brock is able to get a close enough look at it to tell that it's actually a Banette, so that's something at least. I don't know if these guys had just given up or what, but they're joined outside by the others just in time to hear another scream from nearby, and it looks like Banette is invading other homes as well. But our heroes are too slow to catch Banette as it flies from house to house. They regroup at nighttime, and Officer Jenny has figured out that all the items Banette has been stealing from people's houses were heart-shaped. We cut to a scene of Banette entering an abandoned house just outside the city, and we see that Banette has acquired quite the collection of heart-shaped items. It takes each of them up to a mirror to see how it looks, but no matter what item Banette tries, it just doesn't feel right. Giving up, Banette opens its zipper mouth. I honestly never knew its mouth was a literal zipped-up pouch, but hey, you learn something new every day. Anyways, Banette is keeping a photo in there, a photo of its former owner. If that doesn't quite make sense, well, good thing Ash's Pokedex is here to explain how a Banette is a doll that turned into a Pokemon after being abandoned. So evidently, Banette must have been abandoned by that girl in the picture, and oh my god, why does this flashback make her look like a creepy ghost girl? No thank you. Our heroes vow to continue investigating this Banette mystery, but they can't do that on an empty stomach. They check into the local Pokemon Center and explain what's going on in Nurse Joy, and I'm surprised Brock hasn't— oh, never mind, there he goes again. This time Krogunk's poison jab is so strong, we even get to see Brock open his eyes, which rarely happens. Anyways, while they're recharging at the Pokemon Center, we see Banette going on another spree of house visits before it eventually decides to hang out on top of a pillar and look at the picture of its owner again. Ash is once again ready to search for Banette, and he doesn't have to go very far. Banette is sitting on the building right behind them, but uh-oh, a gust of wind just blew its prized photograph away. Brock catches it, which puts him in Banette's sights, only for it to change course and go after Misty when it sees her heart-shaped hair tie. Banette is unsuccessful in stealing the hair tie, but when it tries to fly away, Ash has Gengar chase after it. Banette eventually evades Gengar, although Gengar knows it's somewhere around that abandoned house. Checking back in with this group of detectives, Brock has figured out that Banette is probably the doll in the picture, and they noticed an important detail. The doll has a heart-shaped hair tie thing, which must have been a gift from its owner. Cue the flashbacks, and yeah, that's exactly what happened. And man, I don't know if it's just me, but this little girl just sounded really creepy in these flashbacks. Scarier than any ghost in this episode, that's for sure. Anyways, the flashback continues with the little girl leaving the doll with all the rest of her belongings during a move. We even see the moving company taking everything out of her room, but the doll gets left behind when the Pangoro gets a little careless at the end. This doll just ends up staying in this abandoned house. I mean, what were the owners thinking, just leaving an empty house there? Oh my god, the doll just turned into a Pokemon. Okay, that was creepy and cool at the same time. We see that basically the first thing Banette did after it came to life, if we can consider a ghost-type Pokemon coming to life, was find the picture of its owner, and when it tries to reunite with the little girl, it just ended up scaring people away. Upon seeing its reflection and realizing that it's now a Banette, it thinks that if it was wearing the heart-shaped accessory, its owner would recognize it. Banette eventually finds the old gift back inside the house, but it's so old that as soon as it touches it, the paper just crumbles away to pieces. End of flashback, and wow, what a sad story this Banette is carrying with it. I haven't really done a good job conveying it in this recap, but things have gotten pretty emotional in this episode. It's a sad, tragic story for sure. Okay, moving on. Ash and friends restart their search the next morning and eventually find themselves in Banette's house. Ash uses the picture to lure it out and even offers Misty's hair tie as a gift. Banette is excited to wear it, and man, it really put a smile on my face seeing Banette so happy about this. All the hardship it's gone through, but things might finally be starting to change for the better. Banette is finally happy, and it's ready to go search for its owner along with its new friends. They start searching the city with Banette trying trying to show off its hair tie to little girls who may be its owner, but Ash quickly realizes this is going to be pointless if Banette is just asking every girl it sees. Yeah, so Banette doesn't even remember what its owner looks like, and when they realize how old this photo actually is, they lose even more hope since Banette's owner has probably grown up and moved to who knows where all these years later. After trying their best to search the town, they don't find Banette's owner. Banette flies away, and the others decide to start searching again tomorrow. Gengar doesn't like this though and flies after Banette instead. It ends up at some train station, and Gengar finds Banette sitting on the top of a train car. The two ghost types share some words, and then the train starts to pull away from the station, and Banette decides to go with it. Let's check back in with our heroes who have returned to the Pokemon Center, and whoa, Brock has just had a crazy epiphany. He thinks that the Banette's owner is actually Nurse Joy. Sure enough, it is. I saw this coming from a mile away, but maybe some of you were shocked. Ash and Pikachu go running after Banette so they can reunite it with its owner, but Gengar explains in a panic that Banette isn't back at its house, and Ash calls out Dragonite to help get them to wherever Banette went. And apparently Gengar and Dragonite can fly really fast because they catch up to Banette in no time and get it to come back with them. But instead of flying back towards the Pokemon Center, they just fly straight towards the moon, which made me laugh because why are they leaving the stratosphere at a time like this? Whatever, this actually works, and they make it back to the Pokemon Center, and it's time for an emotional reunion. It finally clicks to Nurse Joy when she sees the heart-shaped hair tie. She recognizes Banette as her doll, and oh boy, here come the waterworks. It is a really touching scene, and the episode had been building up to this moment. Even an emotionless robot like me was moved by this. Oh, and Kazuhu just so happens to be observing all of this from afar. Yeah, it's Latias, and I'm surprised it's not crying too. Cut to the next day, and Banette has become an assistant at the Pokemon Center, wearing an official hat and moving its hair tie onto, well, I guess that's the closest thing Banette has to hair, if we're being honest. With that, everyone says their goodbyes, and our heroes leave the city having reunited Banette and Nurse Joy, which is where the episode comes to an end. Alright, let's dive straight in. I'm giving this episode a 7 out of 10 rating. This was a good episode of television. It had nothing to do with Ash, Pikachu, or any of the other main characters. They weren't even the focus, really. So yeah, it feels out of place in this miniseries. Like, why is one of the last episodes ever with Ash as the main character a story about a wild Banette? This felt more like a filler episode in the middle of a regular series. And well, I can't deny any of that, but as I've already stated in my reviews of earlier Aim to Be a Pokemon Master episodes, I'm just enjoying these episodes for what they are, and I'm not putting heightened expectations on them just because Ash is leaving. This episode had an engaging plot, told a compelling story, used a variety of characters in an effective way, and elicited real emotion. That's so impressive to me, considering all of this took place in a nameless town with a random Nurse Joy and a random wild Pokemon. Like, why did this episode do such a good job telling this story when it had no relevance to the rest of Journeys at all? I wanted to give a special shout out to the music in this episode. The OST from XY was especially fitting in my opinion. It really matched the tone that this episode was trying to hit. And hey, I only gave it a 7, but I bet people who are more emotional than I am probably like this episode even more, so I could see my rating being deemed low just as much as I could see it being considered too high. I'm glad that we didn't spend too much time with the tired trope of, oh no, the scary ghost Pokemon is causing havoc, and instead focus on Banette's tragic story, one that I don't think a lot of people can necessarily relate to. Like, I don't know if there's a true message or lesson from this episode, but they still got me super invested in this Banette, and all the supporting characters did their job of helping push the narrative along. I'll be curious to hear what you all thought about this episode down in the comments, but for now, let's look ahead to the next episode, which is going to be a big Team Rocket reunion. It looks like Team Rocket are getting back all of their Pokemon that have been left at Team Rocket HQ, and it's definitely exciting to see all of these guys back together. Although I have a special soft spot in my heart for Mime Jr. I cannot wait to see this cutie in action next week. I suppose I should talk about the new trailer that got released to hype up the upcoming new series of the Pokemon anime, but I don't know, there's nothing really that noteworthy in my opinion. Like, it doesn't matter to me who the voice actors are, that's never been something I really cared about in the anime, and we already knew most of the other basic details from the trailer, so yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I also know that other YouTubers have made videos talking about the future of the anime, and ShowPro has really cracked down on them. It seems like ShowPro comes out in waves targeting Pokemon anime content on YouTube, and right now is one of those times. And if they're being especially strict, I don't want to take any unnecessary chances and just make sure this video doesn't get copyright claimed or even worse, a strike. So yeah, maybe not the discussion you were all hoping for, but it's kind of out of my hands. I do apologize for this review being a day late. I still don't know why I agreed to go into work 6 days this week. That was a stupid decision. Anyways, no one cares about that, I think. So let's just wrap this thing up. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.